A while ago, there was this soft drink company, and they were introducing a new flavor of soft drink. So they wanted to have these taste test events to get a lot of people to show up to these taste test events and get a lot of publicity. So as part of their marketing strategy, they sent people out to collect emails. And they would approach people in public and say, "Hi, I'm from XYZ soft drink company. We're having a taste test event in your neighborhood. Can I ask for your email so I can send you information and you can come to our taste test and maybe win some prizes?" They tried this, and only 30% of the people whose email they asked for gave them their email. They had a 70% failure rate. So they put on their thinking caps, they called one of their marketing consultants, and they tried something different. And this new technique got them a 70% success rate and a 30% failure rate, whereas before it was 30% success, 70% failure. So they completely flipped their numbers upside down. So what was this new technique? Before they asked for the email, they asked a simple question. They would walk up to strangers in public and say, "Hi, I'm from XYZ Soda Company. Here's my identification. Do you mind if I ask you a simple question?" Everybody said, "Sure, go ahead." And the question was, do you consider yourself an adventurous person? And almost everybody said yes. Then they said, "We're here putting up an event for a taste test, and we'd like to get your email." And 70% of people said yes. Now, why did this work? Why does it work to prime their brain with a question first? Well, according to psychologists, whenever we agree to a personality trait, we will act in congruence with that personality trait. And particularly useful is if you get people to agree to a positive personality trait, they'll be much more likely to act in congruence with that personality trait. So when they ask people, "Do you consider yourself an adventurous person?" most people say yes, because that's a positive personality trait. Then when they ask for the email, they will say yes, or they will be more likely to say yes, because giving somebody an email is congruent with being an adventurous person. The takeaway is very, very simple. If you want to get somebody to do something, put them in the frame of mind where they're already willing to do that. Give them something to live up to, as Dale Carnegie used to say. Get them to agree that they have a personality trait that is congruent with what you want them to do. Now, you can take this simple idea and make it much more powerful by putting them in the positive decision-making frame of mind and further calibrating that with positive decision-making characteristics. So first, think about the thing you want them to do. Give you their phone number, go home with you, buy your product, and then kind of reverse engineer the ideal mindset that would make somebody want to do that, and then ask them questions that lead to that mindset. But you can start off by asking them how they make decisions, and then further calibrate how they make decisions, and not only how they make decisions, but how they make good decisions. And so you can ask them during the course of a regular conversation, how do you make decisions? And most people don't really have a conscious strategy of how they make decisions. Most people just make decisions in the moment based on their intuition. And so they'll be struggling to come up with a well-articulated answer to the question of how do you make decisions? So when they get that expression on their face, when you ask, how do you make decisions? And they go like this, while they're struggling to come up with an answer, you can change the question to make it easier on them. Then you can say, well, if you think back to something good that happened to you recently, or you think back to a good decision you made recently, how did you know before you made that decision that it was going to be a good decision? How did you know before you made that decision that it was going to be a good decision? And again, they might struggle. So you can say something like this to help them along. Was it something intuitive or something more conscious? So that it makes it easy for them to choose, because they don't have to think anymore. They just have to choose the right answer. And so they'll probably choose it was more intuitive. Cool. So now they've agreed with the presupposition that they make good decisions, which means they're in the mindset, they have the current feeling right now within the conversation you're having with them of making a good decision. And you can further enhance this by calibrating with more specificity the type of mindset they are in when they make a good decision. So you can ask a question like this. So when you think back to all the good decisions you made, do you tend to make decisions strongly and quickly, or do you need to take your time? This is like the question of, are you an adventurous person? Because being an adventurous person is a positive personality trait, and people like to self-identify with positive personality traits. So when you give them a choice, do you make decisions quickly and strongly, or you need to think about it for a while? This is a much more positive personality trait, to make strong decisions, to not waver and have to think about it. So they will most likely choose this one. They will self-identify with somebody who makes good decision and who makes them strongly without wavering, strongly and quickly. Then you can ask another either-or decision calibration question. When you make good decisions, when you think back to all the good decisions you've ever made before, do you tend to make them independently, or do you need to ask other people? And again, making independent decisions is a very strong, very positive personality trait, so they'll almost always choose this one. They'll almost always self-identify with making decisions independently without needing to check with other people. So now you've got them in the mindset, they're feeling the emotions that they feel when they make a good decision, and they self-identified with somebody who makes strong, quick decisions, and they've self-identified with somebody who makes independent decisions. You can ask one more question. So when you think back to all the decisions you've ever made, all the good decisions you've ever made, and unexpected obstacles come up, do you tend to just crush through the obstacles, or do you kind of give up? And again, crushing through obstacles is a positive personality trait, one that they will generally self-identify with. So now you've got them in a fantastic state of mind. They're feeling what it feels like to make a good decision. They've self-identified with somebody who makes strong, quick decisions and doesn't waver. They've self-identified with themselves as somebody who makes independent decisions and doesn't need to check with other people. They've self-identified as somebody who crushes obstacles if they come up. This is the ideal state of mind to make any decision, to charge forward with any suggestion you give them. And just like in the soda taste test, when you follow this question with a recommendation, you will get a high probability success rate. A very, very high percentage success rate. So when do you use this technique? You can use this technique anytime you want to before you make any kind of suggestion. It doesn't matter if you're selling something to somebody. It doesn't matter if you're talking to a girl in a bar and you've had a good conversation and you want to take her somewhere else, like to your house. It doesn't matter if you're talking to your friends and want to suggest going out to see a movie or something. Before you even enter the suggestion part of the conversation, just introduce the idea of how do you make decisions. How do you generally make decisions? If you think back to one of the best decisions you've ever made, how did you know just before you made that decision that it was going to be a good decision? Was it something intuitive, a gut feeling, or was it more conscious? It was more like a gut feeling. Cool. So you have a gut feeling before you make a good decision. When you make good decisions, are they generally strong and quick, or kind of slow and you need to think about it? Oh, strong and quick. When you make a good decision, do you tend to make them independently, or do you need to check with other people? Oh, I make them independently. When you make a good decision, do you tend to crush through any obstacles that come up, or do you kind of give up if there's problems? Oh, I crush through obstacles. And now they are in the best mindset ever to accept any suggestion you give them, so long as it's not so out there. So try this with your friends. Introduce the idea of making decisions or strategies for making decisions, saying something like, hey, I saw this really interesting guy on YouTube the other day talking about how people make decisions, and it got me thinking, how do you make decisions? And then just go through the whole process. And this will put them in a fantastic mindset. And you'll just need to make the suggestion to do whatever you want to do, give you their phone number, come home with you, buy your product, go out and watch a movie or have some drinks or something. This is a fantastic way to put people in an ideal mindset where they will be very, very willing to do pretty much anything you suggest. So try this out with your friends. Have a lot of fun with this. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comments. If you'd like to learn more about how to become much more persuasive, how to become much more seductive, please check out the links below. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.